Welcome to the Sleepy Underworld, a place where romance blooms, magic sparkles, and timeless fairy tales are reimagined for the dreamers of today. From heart-stirring romances to spellbinding adventures, every story is a soothing escape into a realm of love, wonder, and charm. So curl up, press play, and let us carry you away to the land of dreams. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. We'd love to know in what part of the world you are watching and what is your favorite tip for a good night's sleep. Thank you for watching and enjoy the video. The scent of rain-soaked earth rose from the garden as I knelt among my grandmother's prized roses, their velvet petals heavy with morning dew. A chorus of blackbirds sang from the weathered stone wall, their melodies intertwining with the distant toll of church bells. My fingers trembled as I pulled another weed, the cool soil crumbling beneath my gardening gloves. In just 3 hours, I would step through the polished oak doors of Dublin's prestigious MacAuley Gallery as their new junior curator. The thought sent a flutter of anxiety through my chest, like trapped moths beating against glass. After 6 months of rejections in London's cutthroat art scene, this position felt like my last chance to prove myself in the world I loved. "Mind the roses, love," my grandmother Margaret called, her soft Irish lilt carrying on the misty air. She stood nearby, silver hair gleaming in the weak spring sunshine, pruning shears moving with practiced grace among the thorny stems. They're particular about their space, just like some people we know. The gentle teasing in her voice made my tight shoulders relax slightly. At 26, I had the credentials that should have made me confident. A master's degree in art history from Trinity College, prestigious internships at the British Museum and the Louvre, and glowing recommendations that spoke of my keen eye and deep understanding of contemporary art. Yet uncertainty clung to me like morning fog, obscuring my view of my worth. The damp silk of spiderwebs brushed my cheeks as I leaned deeper into the rosebush, careful not to snag my cream blouse on the thorns. 3 months had passed since I'd fled London's gleaming towers for the embrace of my grandmother's cottage in the Dublin suburbs, seeking refuge in the familiar rhythms of home. "Gran," I began, watching a ladybird make its way across a leaf. What if they realize they made a mistake? What if I freeze during tours or damage something priceless or... "Look here," Gran interrupted, pointing to something nestled between the rose's gnarled canes. "What do you see?" I leaned closer, the rose's honeyed perfume enveloping me as I brushed aside leaves still beaded with dew. There, catching the strengthening sunlight like a fallen star, sat a 4-leaf clover unlike any I had ever seen. Its leaves shimmered with an otherworldly iridescence, as though they had been spun from moonlight and morning mist. Even the air around it seemed to pulse with gentle energy. "Go on," Gran encouraged, her blue eyes twinkling like sunstruck sapphires. "It's calling to you." With trembling fingers, I plucked the clover. The moment my skin touched its delicate stem, warmth bloomed in my fingertips and flowed through my body, bringing with it a clarity I had never known. The garden suddenly seemed sharper, more vivid, the roses red deeper and richer, the ivies green more brilliant, the very air itself charged with possibility. "That's a rare one, lass," Gran said softly, her voice carrying the weight of ancient secrets. "Keep it close. Magic has a way of finding those who need it most, especially on St. Patrick's Day." She touched my cheek with soil-warmed fingers. "The old ways aren't all gone from Ireland, you know. Sometimes they're just waiting for the right moment to shine." I carefully tucked the clover into my jacket pocket, feeling its gentle warmth against my heart. "But Gran, you always say magic isn't real. You tell the neighborhood children not to waste time hunting leprechauns." Gran's laugh rang out like silver bells in the morning air, startling a robin from its perch. "I say many things, dear one. The trick is knowing which to believe." She turned back to her roses, humming an old Irish ballad that seemed to make the flowers lean toward her. That evening, As I walked through Dublin's winding streets toward my flat, the city felt different. The usual cacophony of traffic and chatter had transformed into a symphony. Street musicians playing The Fields of Athenry on worn fiddles, the clip-clop of tourist-laden carriages on cobblestones, the melodic murmur of conversation spilling from pub doorways. Even the air felt supercharged, carrying the mingled aromas of fresh-baked soda bread, rich coffee, and the first blooms of spring. I paused outside the old library pub, drawn by a warm glow spilling from its stained glass windows. Through the wavy panes, I saw him, Liam O'Connor, the gallery's head curator, and my new boss. He sat alone at a corner table, his dark curls falling across his forehead as he bent over a book, his long fingers wrapped around a half-empty pint of Guinness. The sight of him sent a different kind of warmth spreading through my chest as I remembered our interview 3 weeks ago, the way his green eyes had brightened when I discussed my thesis on the evolution of Celtic symbolism in modern Irish art. Before doubt could root my feet to the pavement, I pushed open the heavy oak door. The pub's atmosphere embraced me. Warmth from the peat fire, the rich scent of coffee and fresh bread, the soft notes of a violin playing somewhere in the back room. Conversations hummed like bees in summer, creating a cocoon of comfortable sound. "Mind if I join you?" The words left my mouth with surprising ease as I stood beside Liam's table, breathing in the faint scent of his cologne, something woodsy and clean. He looked up, surprise and pleasure washing across his features like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Bridget, please sit." He gestured to the worn leather chair across from him, closing his book, a tome on contemporary sculpture. "I was just reading about the piece we're receiving next week. Perfect timing, actually. I'd love your thoughts on where to display it." As we talked, the usual knot of anxiety in my chest unraveled. Words flowed between us carrying our shared passion for art, our love of Irish folklore, and our belief in the power of beauty to transform lives. When Liam smiled at my suggestion about incorporating local artists into the gallery's permanent collection, the warmth in his eyes made me feel as though I could touch the stars. The next morning, I moved through the gallery's hallowed halls with newfound grace. My voice rang clear and confident as I led tours, sharing stories that brought each piece to life. My hands stayed steady as I handled precious artifacts, and my creative vision sparked excitement when I proposed an innovative layout for the upcoming exhibition. Liam worked beside me throughout the day, our natural rhythm making the hours dance past. Days flowed into weeks, each one bringing new discoveries. Liam and I began taking our lunch breaks in St. Stephen's Green, sharing homemade sandwiches and dreams as ducks waddled past our favorite bench. Sometimes our fingers brushed as we reached for our coffee cups, sending shivers of electricity racing along my skin. I learned that he played the fiddle, that his mother had been a painter, and that he could recite Yeats from memory. One evening, as we worked late cataloging new acquisitions, the gallery quiet except for our soft footsteps and the gentle hum of the climate control systems, Liam turned to me. The warm gallery lights caught the gold flecks in his eyes as he spoke. "There's something different about you, Bridget. You shine like you've caught starlight in your soul." My hand flew to my jacket pocket, seeking the reassuring touch of the clover, and found nothing. Panic fluttered in my chest as I searched my clothing, my bag, my desk. The magical charm that had given me such confidence was gone. "Is everything all right?" Liam asked, his warm hand coming to rest on my arm. The touch sent tingles of awareness dancing across my skin. I looked up into his concerned face and suddenly realized nothing had changed. The confidence that had been growing within me remained steady and strong. The clover's disappearance hadn't diminished my ability to speak my mind, to do my job with excellence, to connect with others, to connect with him. "Yes," I whispered, understanding blooming in my heart. "Everything is perfect." That weekend, I returned to my grandmother's garden, Gran was already there, her practiced hands guiding climbing roses along the trellises. The morning air was sweet with the scent of fresh earth and brewing tea from the cottage's open kitchen window. I lost the clover, I admitted, kneeling beside her in the soft grass. A gentle breeze carried the sound of wind chimes from the cottage porch, their crystal notes blending with birdsong. Gran smiled, sunlight catching the silver in her hair like morning frost. Did you now? And what did you find instead? I thought about the past weeks, about the confidence that now flowed through my veins like sunlight through stained glass, about the way Liam's eyes followed me when I spoke about art, about the dreams that no longer seemed to hover just beyond my reach. Myself, I answered simply, feeling the truth of it settle in my bones like a blessing. You see, love. Gran reached out and squeezed my hand, her skin warm and soft as rose petals. The magic was never in the clover. It was in you all along. Sometimes we just need a little reminder to believe in ourselves. Later that day, I met Liam at the National Museum. As we walked through the ancient artifacts section, our hands found one another, our fingers intertwining. We paused before a display of Celtic jewelry, the gold pieces gleaming under soft lights like captured stars. You know, Liam said, his thumb tracing patterns on my palm that sent shivers up my arm. There's an old Irish saying that when you find your truth, magic follows. I smiled, feeling the steady warmth of his hand in mine, the strong beating of my heart, the absolute certainty that I was exactly where I was meant to be. I think I'm starting to understand what that means. Above us, the museum's skylight caught the late afternoon sun, casting a rainbow of colors across the marble floor. And there, in the dance of light and shadow, I could have sworn I saw the shimmer of clover leaves twinkling like green stars fallen to earth. But I didn't need to look twice. I knew now that the real magic wasn't in lucky charms or ancient artifacts. It was in the way Liam's eyes crinkled when he smiled at me. It was in my grandmother's gentle wisdom. It was in the strength I had carried within myself all along, waiting to be discovered. As we left the museum hand in hand, stepping into the golden evening light, I felt the last traces of self-doubt fall away like autumn leaves in the wind. Ahead lay countless possibilities, countless adventures, countless moments to shine, and I was ready for them all. For I had finally learned the greatest magic of all, to believe in myself, just as I was, without the need for charms or luck or anything but my own true heart.